Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX, and again on Saturday morning at 9 on KATX and KWBY as Angela Robinson joins Terry Slavens to share important financial information to help you live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, estate and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
Welcome in. It's Life Planning 101 right here on KTX 97.7. Terry Slavens with you, and we're joined now by Angela Robinson and a special guest. Angela?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. And what a great show we have lined out for you. I tell you what, I have been looking forward to this show for many, many months. And I had to time it around Christmas because this gentleman, what he does is probably, it's the true heart of Christmas, I guess. And he gets to do that all year long. How cool is that? And it's the gift of giving. And so we figured we would do a show centered around being able to gift. And as you know, if you've been a listener to our show, giving to your favorite charity, your favorite cause is sometimes hard to do. Sometimes, when people are doing their estate planning, they think that they might disinherit their kids if they do that. Sometimes they don't know where the money will come from. Sometimes they don't know certain strategies that can be used. And this is a gentleman that we collaborate with and have actually had help our clients with not only just from a sense of strategizing for taxes and charitable gifting itself, but helping them make movements in their family towards their legacy. And I'm really excited about him. And just to give you a little of his background, his name is Steve Markin, and he's out of Colorado. He has 3 kids, and sometimes I don't know how. I really don't know how he does it, because I look at my brother. He's in the same situation, 2 teenagers and a tween, and they live outside of Colorado Springs, between Colorado Springs and Denver, as I understand it. But he's an attorney. He's a professional fiduciary. And for those of you who don't know what that word means, it is like the highest of highest standards to do what is right for whom you're working with. And that's what the courts hold you to. So that is pretty big that he is willing to take on that responsibility to people. He's a consultant to families and also to wealth managers, people that put together plans throughout the country. He's been nationally recognized as an expert, adept in conceptualizing and overseeing financial and estate plans, and holistically and multi-generationally, if I can get that word out, my goodness, integrating a family's financial, which is the material aspect, the people, and the philanthropic capital. And I think that's something we often forget about, right? Is that combination of all 3. And that's what we talk about most on Life Planning 101 is really, it's not about the finances. Your finances are just like your oxygen. You got to have it. You can't live without it. But really what it's about is the people and the philanthropic side to your life, what you want to accomplish with your life, that meaning that you have. So this is why we have such a great relationship with this gentleman. One of the things that I love about his background is he worked in an area called an advanced markets and with an insurance company many years ago. And those are people we work with all the time as an advisor on planning topics. And so, he really has an advisor conceptual mind, meaning, he knows that we really want to work intricately with our clients. And then, he comes in as to be able to be a specialist along the side to help us really improve upon what we're doing. So that is really, really exciting. And I tell you what, the gentleman is a very effective communicator. He has been featured as a presenter before state bar associates, trust and estate sections, estate planning councils, regional and national plan giving conferences, CPA conferences on estate planning, Financial Planning Association. So he's got it all. He's even taught a class in Masters in Law to students at LLM. So wow. So I'm really looking forward to him being on the show. And he has got the most incredible topic for you. You're going to love it when we come back. It is called If Uncle Sam is on Your Naughty List. He's on mine.
Life Planning will continue right here on KTX KWBY right after this. Welcome back to Life Planning 101 on KTX KWBY. Angela?
It must be something in the air today with all these tongue twisters. I don't know. But we have a great show lined up for you and a very special guest from Colorado, Mr. Steve Markin, on the phone with us. And he has a title for us today, If Uncle Sam is on Your Naughty List. I love this title. So, Steve, tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Thank you, Angela. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be on the show and to speak with your audience. It's funny, my family and I, we went to see the Christmas Carol this weekend, and reminded at the end of the program, we had the Ghost of Christmas Future. And Uncle Sam is kind of that ghost of Christmas future. We come in and we come to year end, we know that hand of taxes is going to come and going to greet us in that first quarter of the next year, 2017. And unless we do some tax planning before December 31st, our lot is cast as the year comes to a close. And so, as you said in your introduction, this is giving season. We primarily do look to our family and our friends to see who we're going to bless this time of year. But then also, charitable giving is a very, very important thing that occurs because of that Uncle Sam, who's waiting there to get his fair share of our hard-earned money. And so many families will go and use this time at year-end to do some charitable tax planning to offset that liability that awaits them as the calendar turns.
Yeah, and I think what's neat is we've been working with you for a few years now and had a great introduction by a gentleman we worked with for many years and has given you extremely high accolades, and I can see why. But you've helped us be able to conceptualize and put together some things for some families that's pretty impressive. And, one of the things that I love about what you do is, and I'm going to quote you. You said family philanthropy, not an individual, because you can make it about the family here. And it can play a significant role in preparing subsequent generations to be responsible managers of family wealth, while also serving an effective forum for the establishment and continuity of values and traditions important to you. So, what have been your experiences in seeing that happen, Steve?
Oh, great question. And you and I have both had the privilege to work with some tremendous families through the years. And what we've learned is that wealth is complicated. Quite commonly, the families that we work with, their preeminent question is, what's the wealth going to do to the next generation? And families who actively and proactively address that question will commonly use philanthropy, the family foundation bucket, to bring that family together to address the values that have proven important to the family, such as a good, hard work ethic, honesty, character, those type of things that have proven to be instrumental in the family building their wealth. And yet, as we look out at the news, and as our families look out at the news, it is quite easy to see that if we don't have a continuation of that good character and that a continuation of the ability to be good stewards of the family wealth, it will have a negative impact on the wealth.
Absolutely.
The result will be that the wealth will go either be wasted, no longer in the family's control, or, like I said earlier on, in the form of also taxes. Whereas if money goes to Uncle Sam, we don't really get to control that, and we have very little say as to how that's used. The only say we have is with our vote. So families will commonly gather around that family philanthropic bucket, and there is, let me define what I mean by that family philanthropic bucket. The family, perhaps our audience has heard oftentimes of have heard of the Family Foundation. In fact, in this last election cycle, the Clinton Family Foundation was in the news.
No, it was?
That is a type of family foundation. It is called a private foundation, where they establish that, and then at their convenience, they get to go and philanthropically use those dollars. Another very common family philanthropy tool is a donor-advised fund. And Angela, I'm quite sure that your firm has experience with those donor-advised funds, that type of tool. probably have also experience with the private family foundation. Both work similar in that the family can gather around under that umbrella. We can talk about what's important to the family, and then ultimately we go and we will give that money away to support those causes that are nearest and dearest to us on our time schedule. But there are big differences between those two different buckets.
Absolutely. And, one of the things I think is important to remember in this show, and maybe it's just being the type of people that we work with are, small town Texas people and Montana and Arizona and Colorado. And, we always hear wealth and we hear of these types of planning strategies. And and this has been our experience. People that have a net worth of $20 million don't consider themselves having wealth. And so, they're actually worried about money. They're worried about if they're going to have enough dollars to be able to take care of them. And this happens all the way up to that mark. I think there's like a thread above that things start to loosen up. But, I want to remind our listeners as you're listening to this, when we talk about these types of strategies, it's for most people. Because a donor advised fund, for example, can be started with as little as $5,000, which is pretty amazing. So, I do want to ask you this, Steve, one more thing before we take a break. And then I know you were going to get into some concepts for us, because I know with charitable gifting, things can be done before death, while you're living. And then, of course, in your will and in your estate, and talking about some strategies and actually getting into a little nitty gritty on some tax savings. But, one of the things you put in here, and I love this, is, with your philanthropic dollars, you can actually be able to teach your children, give an outlet for the expression of your family story, your lessons learned, the virtues, values, and things about that. So what have you done, or do you have maybe a quick story you can tell us about something that has happened like this that has really brought to life families, deepening in their connection with each other?
Absolutely. Thank you. Quite common. Work with the first generation of wealth builders. They've worked hard. Hunger is a great motivator, and oftentimes that first generation has not started with much at all, and it is because that drive of taking care of that hunger to provide the basic necessities for their family, they've developed a strong work ethic. And as a result, they've been fortunate that because of that strong work ethic and perhaps even moral ethic, usually that is coupled with success. And it comes in the form of material success. Well, that second generation has also lived with that first generation and have seen the fruits of that struggle. They also, because they've witnessed what it means to go without, and through that struggle, they've also come to understand the value of a dollar. That second generation usually does a pretty good job with the stewardship of that wealth. They usually have inherited that work ethic that has made that first generation very successful. They also are careful with the money that they are taking in. But it's that third generation that comes, the grandkids, whose experience is much different than the second generation. That third generation, the grandkids, quite oftentimes have much more material wealth than the first and the second generation ever did when they were growing up. And so their life experience is much different. They may not understand the value of a dollar. They now have access to education and other opportunities that perhaps were not there for the first or second generation. And we live in a culture in America where it is all about, you deserve that, go get it.
Right. Yes. Unfortunately.
And we see that at Christmas time, right? Our kids cannot wait to go and get that next latest and greatest thing, which is going to be out of style within 2 months anyway.
That's right. And they may never play with it past Christmas Day.
And that's the common challenge that these families have. And so to gather that family around and to share that story of hard work and ethic that the first generation had, to share that with that third generation, you and I have seen how hugely instrumental that is to get that family. That's the family legacy.
Yeah.
To the extent that they understand that and own that and value that, that will help them to go and continue to be good stewards of that family wealth. And it so naturally happens in the construct of the family foundation bucket.
That's pretty awesome. So when we come back, we've talked about how charitable gifting, of course, not can only impact the charities itself or themselves, but also your family. But now let's talk about your actual tax dollars and what it can do for you. Having your cake and eating it too. You don't want to miss it.
Final segment of Life Planning 101 coming up right after this. Welcome back to Life Planning 101. Angela, the final segment with Steve.
Yes, thank you so much. And what a great topic we have today. The gentleman, Steve Markin, if you're just joining us, you have to get on and re-listen to the show. We're on iTunes, iHeartRadio, KATX Radio, KWBY Radio, and of course, our website, Kennedy-financial.com. You've got to listen to this broadcast by Steve Markin talking about charitable planning within your family, not only benefiting the charity, not only benefiting your family and how that can happen, which he just went into great detail. And wasn't that awesome? Just listening to, and it's such truth to that. And now, ready for this? We're going to talk about having your cake and eating it too, meaning you can get all that benefit. Plus, when you do charitable planning, it often comes at a great tax savings, and sometimes it comes back to you, and that's pretty impressive. I know in particular, Steve, we worked on some different cases where, we've seen a huge write-off, but then the family has an income for life after that, going through 2 generations, or being able to get back as much as they can for themselves, but still leaving the end bucket to the charity rather than to the IRS. So I know we don't have much time left on the show, but we really would love to be able to hear some of these strategies. And I know in particular, you've been working on something that should come live next year. And I do want you to hit on that, please, sir.
Excellent. So there's generally 3 types of, I call them life income plans, that couple the benefits of charitable tax planning. So you get some income tax benefits, some tax deferral benefits, using the family philanthropy as that place, or the family foundation as that place to gather the family around and talk about values. But then in addition, like you say, get your cake and eat it too, or have your cake and eat it too, that these tools allow for something to come back to you. There's 2 tools that I'll cover that talk about an income stream that comes back. The third tool will be where the capital comes back to the family.
Wow.
The first tool that's quite common that you and I have worked on quite a bit on is the charitable remainder trust. Quite commonly used where somebody is going to sell an appreciated asset, let's say appreciated stock, a business, or real estate. They know that should that sale go through, capital gains will be owed, and many people do not want to owe that at that time. This tool is used where that family needs that income back, so they are not comfortable at the present time to just make an outright gift because they perhaps have a long lifetime ahead of them, or their heirs have a long lifetime ahead of them, and they want that comfort and security of a lifetime income. So that first tool is called a charitable remainder trust. There's 5 different types of those types of trusts. Capital asset, get a tax deduction, the comfort and security of a lifetime income stream, and the benefits of tax deferral. Great tool. The other tool is called a charitable pooled trust, and that's what you alluded to about coming next year. This charitable pooled trust is very similar to a charitable remainder trust. You put something into that bucket. When you do that, you get a very significant income tax deduction, which is used to offset Uncle Sam's slice of your pie. And that trust is going to go and pay out the net income on the pooled income, or the charitable pooled trust, for the lives of the income interest. And this could be done multi-generationally. It could be set up for 2 or even 3 generations. It's a very, very powerful tool, quite commonly used where, let's say that there was a liquidation event that occurred, and they didn't do any pre-sale charitable tax planning, or that for whatever reason a charitable remainder trust could not be used, and they will fund this with cash to offset their income tax, their impending income tax liability that they're looking at. The third tool is where the capital actually comes back to the family, and that's called a charitable lead trust. It's almost exactly opposite of the charitable remainder trust and charitable pool trust. The charitable lead trust is where it can be used upon your passing to negate any estate tax consequences. So the assets upon your passing go into a trust, It will pay out a income interest for usually a period of years to your family foundation quite often. And then at the expiration of that period of years, the capital in that trust goes back to the family, the next generation.
And I tell you,
it could be done for income tax purposes, where, again, for whatever reason, pre-sale planning did not occur. They're looking at a very large tax bill, so the family wants to offset that tax bill and needs that capital back at some later point in time. So what they do is they'll fund that charitable lead trust with cash. They'll make it a grantor charitable lead trust. That lead trust will pay out to their family foundation for a period of years, and then at the expiration of that period of years, the capital in that trust goes back to the family.
And that's what we've been talking.
Powerful tools that are used. Which one is right for your clients in the particular circumstances all depends upon what they want to achieve and what's going on in their life. So that's why it's so important for them to work with a financial advisor like yourself, Angela, and that's why we've had the privilege of working with some tremendous families.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that. And, I tell you, that's how it all intermingles back to one another. This has been some awesome strategies today. Thank you so much for coming on our show, and we hope you'll join us again. We hope we've got enough of your interest and we've given you enough accreditation that you really like us to come back, because this has just been wonderful, and I know our listeners will thoroughly enjoy it. Make sure you tweet us. Do you take advantage of charitable tax planning options that are available? Yes or no? And don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter, Kennedy-financial.com. My name is Angela Robinson with Kennedy Financial Services. Thank you, God bless, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and again on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on KATX and KWBY for more Life Planning 101.
Advisory services offered through Smart Money Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Carlton & Associates Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Kennedy Financial Services Incorporated is an independent of Carlton & Associates Incorporated and Smart Money Group, LLC.